you're watching us on this special broadcast on Money Control, I am Ridhima Bhatnagar. Cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, we've all spoken about it, we've all heard about it, but still there are many questions in our minds. How does it work? Is it even legal in India? How can we join the crypto family? And what are the challenges currently? I have with me some very interesting guests who have actually been working with crypto traders and also working as far as the framework for cryptocurrency in India is concerned. I have with me Nishchal Shetty, founder WazirX in India. I have with me Varun, he's a blockchain lawyer, and I also have with me Satvik Vishwanath, the CEO of Unicoin. Gentlemen, really good to have all of you with us here on Money Control. Nishchal, I want to begin with you. Me and you have had numerous chats over the last few years, and we've always tried to simplify it for our viewers as to whether Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, is it even legal in India? Let's start from there. Where does cryptocurrency in Bitcoin, which is one of the cryptocurrencies, currently stand in India?
See, I think so. You can trade in Bitcoin and you can hold Bitcoin. You could also, run any company or startups around Bitcoin. There's nothing illegal about it. The only difference is it's an unregulated market.
Yeah.
But unregulated does not mean it's not legal or something. So the confusion has been because there was a banking ban in between where you could not use your bank accounts as an exchange. But that again on 4th of March 2020. The Supreme Court has squashed that circular by the RBI. So now there's no roadblock right now for you to enter crypto and trade and do whatever you want.
Okay. To simplify it further, what really is a cryptocurrency? How is it different from the currency mean you use every day?
So I think I usually like to give a simple example of this. In the offline world, for example, if I was to give you 100 rupees note, that transaction is between me and you, just two of us. But in the online world, when you transfer money, you are actually transferring money from your bank account to someone else's bank account.
Yeah.
So your bank is in between. The reason why Bitcoin was created was how do you replicate that offline cash transaction online? Which means if I was to send you a Bitcoin today, I can directly send it from my account, from my wallet to your Bitcoin wallet without a bank or anyone needed. So it removes the intermediaries in between that was traditionally needed.
Gets removed.
Yes. So that's all Bitcoin innovation is all about.
Okay, perfect. Well, it's not been very long since it's been the system. 2019 is when we officially started seeing, more and more news also come forward. And then India, of course, caught on to the crypto craze. Varun, I want to bring you in. But for people like you, Nishchal and Satvik and many others, on millions today, the crypto family is very big in India. You have been facing a gray area because there is a narrative which has been said that anything to do with cryptocurrency is evil and illegal. Would you want to maybe allay those concerns?
That's an interesting analogy that has been sort of built up by the media itself. 10 million
Don't
users
blame it on
in
us.
India now.
That's come from the official government. We have nothing to do with it.
Yes. But generally, the notion that we see here in India is that while it is a technology, we consider this as an emerging technology. And of course, emerging technology has standard challenges of the regulatory framework coming after the implementation of the technology. So I think we are going through that phase in India. But this narrative has been built in India that it is not a legal tender. I don't think so that the community wants to call it a legal tender. What it wants is a recognition as a different asset class. And this different asset class identification has been done by other countries. We have examples of Japan calling it, legal tender, almost legal tender there. We have seen a neobank in UK, which allows you to open a bank account in fiat currency, and you can directly also get an e-money license. That neobank has got an e-money license. You get a investment either in fiat, that is the UK pounds, or you are able to also invest in cryptos. Now, what happens here in India is that a youngster, post the March 4th, 2020 Supreme Court judgment, which stated that it is brought down the circular of RBI calling disproportionate, post that it gives a brilliant investment opportunity. I call it investment opportunity primarily because this is based on what Tesla has stated in its K10, which was filed by with the US SEC, calling it diversification of its cash reserves. So the very same term, just like a diversification strategy for an investor, learning how the markets develop and how you can enter the market. Well, it is a decent asset class to get into, especially for the youngsters who are tech savvy in India.
Okay, Satvik, I want to bring you in now. The crypto family in India is not restricted to hundreds and thousands, but in fact millions. I want to begin by asking, what is the age group that you're seeing that is maximum interested in crypto today, and where did you see the surge? When did it really begin for India?
Yeah, so we started UnoCoin in 2013. So this is already our 8th year of operation and the first company to do anything with the trading of currency. So since then till today, the age range which is significantly active on our platform continues to be between 25 to 40. So it looks like these are the people who are on one side having the disposable income, or else they are looking. I mean, they are like tech savvy. They understand how things work. They are willing to go online, do their research, and willing to learn how to do the investments and such things.
Yeah.
And also, most of the times, refer to their friends and families, right? So that is how I see it. And it's usually the male population that we have, like 85% of them, right? So, and when it comes to education and such, we have definitely seen most of them at least understand for what exactly it is. And it is actually, bad idea for someone to just invest into this without understanding what it means.
Sure.
So, I mean, they need to understand English for sure. So like most content are in English. We have our apps in Hindi as well, so that it helps people. But it just, there is definitely a layer that someone need to pass through. See, for example, for my parents, using WhatsApp was difficult for the first few months. Absolutely. So like this, there is always a layer they have to pass through to become comfortable, how to hit the buy button and sell button, set the prices and such things. But yeah, I mean, it hasn't been a huge barrier. It's and none of the exchanges actually do any kind of transactions offline. So where someone can walk into the shop and take it, which means it's like zero chances for that. Anything should happen, everything should happen just online using bank transactions and cryptocurrency transactions. That's it. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting that you say that, you're also putting out a word of caution at a time when we want the crypto family to increase, but have proper knowledge about it before you enter so that you know what you're getting into. Nishchal, now I want to get to the serious aspect of it, which is how India has perceived cryptocurrency for a very, very long time. I started by saying that India and crypto have a gray area. We currently don't know whether it's legal, whether it's not legal. Is the government going to bring a ban on it? So essentially, then what I'm trying to understand is, every work that all of you are doing, is it even legit?
So, I usually say that technology and innovation comes first and your regulations come second. And, that's how it's always been. So if we ever doubted about the work we do, then we would never see innovation in our country. If we always wait for regulations to come first, we will never be ahead in the global innovation landscape. So I think what we do is in fact very, very important, because looking at the work that is being done on the ground is how governments will be able to better regulate. Right. If there is no work done on the ground, what will happen is the government will not even identify. The fact that we are even discussing today is because of all the entrepreneurial work that is happening in India in the crypto space. And I think this has been a great, the last 3 to 4 years at least in India in the crypto sector has been really, really amazing, where it has grown tremendously, like over 10 million people now in crypto. It's all because of all the entrepreneurs that have done great work in this sector. And I think this is the way to go. You look at all other innovation, Ola, Uber, your Amazon and Flipkart of the world. All of them have first come, and now the regulators are trying to see how to regulate. And I think that's the way this industry will also go ahead. We will see regulation, and in fact, we want positive regulation because every other country in the world is regulating positively. So I don't think India will also go a negative direction. We'll go in the right direction. But I think in between there will be these roadblocks, which I think through discussions like these, we should probably put them on the right path.
I think this also because, sometimes a lack of information also leads to a lot of narrative. People, just because they don't know about it, so whatever one section says, we tend to believe it. So it's also good to bust these myths and allay these concerns. Varun, I want to come in, bring you in now. The reason that we're all suddenly talking about cryptocurrency in the last week is also because of Tesla's investment. Now, of course, anything that Elon Musk either talks about or touches is, of course, news. But that apart, how big do you see this as a move forward for cryptocurrency, not just in India, but globally as well?
I think I'll just take a step back and not just talk about Tesla, but also talk about another development that happened that was popular within the crypto community, but did not gain too much traction outside of the community. It was a $1 billion investment by MicroStrategy also. So Michael Saylor on Twitter actually sort of interacted with Elon Musk, and that attracted lots of attention, at least amongst the crypto community.
So
$1 billion investment by MicroStrategy and a $1.5 billion investment, which is a document now with the US SEC, the K10, which is filed and is available on the Tesla's website. Now, what it does is that, yes, Tesla, even though it wants to become more innovative by saying that they want to sell their Tesla cars against Bitcoins as well, using it as a payment service as well. That is very interesting. I think that is still a few maybe months or years ago. I still feel that currently what they've done is that, and they've mentioned this thing in their K10 filing, that they have $19 billion worth in cash reserves. Roughly 9 to 10% has been invested as a diversification strategy. So again, the notion that they have is that this is an investment. We're just keeping our cash reserves. We still feel that with its volatility or without it, it is still a cash reserve that they are calling. This is not a pure investment, which means that they are looking at this as a cash and cash equivalent, which means that they are expecting price to be less volatile going forward. Now, what this means for a developing and a tech-enabled sort of nation, young nation like India is that youngsters can also think, in case they want to understand the crypto market, invest some portion of their savings into these cryptos, maybe Bitcoin and other more stable versions of it, to understand how this technology works. Yes, post the Supreme Court ban, there are exchanges like Nischals and Satwix, which allows easy on-ramping from the fiat to the non-fiat. Thereby, it opens up a massive opportunity for innovation in a tech-enabled country like India. So youngsters, this is the opportunity.
Okay, Satwik, to run the discussion and to reach some sort of a closure to it, would you have a word of concern for people or youngsters, since you said that's where the majority is coming in from, that this is not a place to make a quick buck? Because initially that really was, how the narrative was put out, that if you want to make a quick buck, and that's why this whole idea of it being illegal and maybe prohibited came into. Would you also want to put out a word of caution that this is not something related to the dark web, and you should know these before you get into whether you want to trade into it or so on and so forth?
Yeah, so there is definitely, when it comes to the price of Bitcoin and any of the cryptocurrencies, as of today, a lot of people are into it because of the speculative reasons. The utilities are really yet to come. I mean, it's definitely not proportional to what exists as the market capitalization itself, right? So on the other side, if we see, we have a lot of companies who are getting into this because they obviously are able to see something in the future that a lot of us are not able to.
Yeah.
Say that as of today, there could be half of the people who don't like Bitcoin for obvious reasons, but when it comes to like who don't like Elon Musk or Tesla, right? So I think it's more, probably he's obviously seeing something that we cannot see. And he's all about future, innovation, technology, risk-taking nature. So it's and youngsters. So there is so much of words that is associated with him. Really make a lot of people be enthusiastic about it and like actually jump into it. Whoever are there already on the fence, these kinds of announcements will make them jump into it. But obviously, all investors, or whether they're taking it for cash reserve purposes, commodity purposes, utilities, or doing transactions across the world, whatever it is, they really need to understand, there is risk associated. It's not only financial risk, and even security risks are associated. They could get hacked and all money can just disappear within like a fraction of a second. And it's also
that's the essential word of caution that I wanted, that you need to assess the risk factors that are involved when you get into something like this, which still has a gray area as far as the legality is concerned, especially in India. Gentlemen, I've completely run out of time, but it was pleasure chatting with all of you to at least help us understand, one, how does cryptocurrency work? Where does India stand? How important is Tesla's investment, and what really our way ahead really looks like? Thank you so much for joining us here on Money Control.